Testimony resumes in the Doomsday Cult mom murder trial.
She just seems like she doesn't even care. There's like no emotion, I don't really see anything from her. She's just taking it all in stride, and she's just like la-di-da, just another day. Hard to see, but at the same time, just, kind of helps you understand the depth of this case and how horrible, horrific, it's awful. Still understand how a mother could do that to her children. It breaks my heart.
And it has been a full day of testimony in the murder trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. She's accused in the murders of her children, Tylee and JJ, as well as conspiring to kill her husband's first wife, Tammy.
Now, today, jurors heard some bombshell testimony from one of Lori's friends. Melanie Gibb gave some stunning testimony telling the jury that Lori asked her to lie about the whereabouts of Lori's 7-year-old son, JJ. All right, here with our Court TV debrief is Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter. All right, Chanley, you've been in that courtroom all day, so let's get straight to the point. We don't have cameras in there. We got the second best thing, that is you, and you were able to watch. So give us some highlights and some of the latest from the courtroom.
Great to be with you, Michael and Ashley. What a day inside this courtroom. Probably one of the biggest days because, as you both mentioned, one of the biggest witnesses for the prosecution. I would have to say a star witness, Melanie Gibb, the former best friend of Lori Vallow Daybell, on the stand most of the morning into some of the afternoon. And we'll get to more details about her testimony, but just to update our viewers right now, inside the courtroom, there was a break. Some of the attorneys are arguing over a motion with the judge, but on the stand this afternoon after Melanie Gibb was a Chandler, Arizona police officer who responded to the July 11th, 2019 shooting of Charles Vallow. That was the fourth husband of Lori Vallow Daybell, who was shot by her brother, Alex Cox, on that date. So the jury hearing a little bit more about that, and we'll see how much they can hear about that incident with the attorneys arguing over that. But inside the courtroom, again, here's Melanie Gibb trying to cover her face a bit, wearing a hat and a mask and this flannel shirt as she made her way inside the courtroom this morning to testify. She took off the flannel and the hat, of course, on the witness stand. And inside, Lori Vallow Daybell, her former best friend, wearing the same colors of black and white today. She had her hair curled to the side, glasses again, and was all smiles, upbeat this morning, visiting with her attorneys, taking some notes. But once her friend entered, it was all serious. And there were some moments where she seemed to react, as you can see the sketch artist Lisa Cheney's rendition of Melanie Gibb and Lindsay Blake there asking her questions for most of the day. Michael and Ashley.
All right, I just have to say, you know what? I tell my friends a lot, and if I saw one of my best friends get up on the stand, I'd be worried because you tell them things. So, Chanley, two things. First of all, what more did Melanie Gibb say about Lori and Chad and that relationship? And what about a phone call that she had with Lori and Chad?
Yeah, this jury listening to another recording. They listened to a call yesterday, now another recording. But first, Melanie was so pivotal in building the context in the background, how she met Lori. And what was so interesting is how Lori met Chad at a conference in October of 2018. And from that moment, that very moment, sparks flew. They were attracted, very flirty type of relationship. And she talks through the story of how not only did the personal relationship between Chad and Lori evolve very quickly, but also the beliefs, some of which Lori already had before meeting Chad, evolved to the extreme as well. So she tells the jury about the relationship where Lori actually told her that Lori was intimate with Chad while both were still married. And this was a moment in court that I wanted to feature because Lori overtly reacts when Melanie says this. Lori felt it was okay because it was according to God's will, that she explained because they had been married in a previous life, that it was okay to pursue this relationship. They had even been sealed in a temple, reuniting their past 5 marriages in previous lives with Moroni and Jesus Christ. She goes into all of that. So it was very close, very quick between Lori and Chad. And she also details the, interesting to say the least, beliefs that Chad and Lori taught others in their small, close-knit type group, including who was light, who was dark. Lori believed people were light because they came to this planet, Melanie said, in the premortal realm, and that those who made contracts with the Savior were light and those that signed contracts with Satan were dark. And Lori Espouso teaches soon after Chad. So she's starting to talk about light and dark people, dark spirits in people, zombies, these things from, just days and weeks after becoming so close with Chad Daybell. Now, what was standing out to me is how Melanie describes Alex Cox. He was sold out, completely committed with Chad and Lori's beliefs and truly believed them. So Melanie's saying, I don't know, I wasn't so sure about all this stuff, but Alex Cox was one that did. And here's part of that testimony. She said, or she was asked, did Lori teach these things to Alex Cox? And Melanie says, yes, he gradually came to learn about it. He really did believe that these entities, the people were zombies, or the people they were hoping would pass away. He indicated they were really zombies. And she says, well, which people were they hoping would pass away? And Melanie says, Charles, JJ, Tylee. That they were dark. So again, going to the prosecution's theme that here Alex Cox was Lori's protector, her warrior that would come in who truly believed these people were zombies and would do whatever Lori asked him to do. And let's get to that phone call, because Melanie says in that phone call refers to Al, Lori's brother Alex, asking, what happened to the kids? And he says something like, she doesn't want to know what happened to the kids. Let's take a listen.
Is JJ safe?
He is safe and happy.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Are you afraid of anything? Are you afraid to tell me that you're just afraid that that I could be in danger? If I knew, how could that hurt me? I don't understand how that could hurt me if I knew where he was.
Well, I'm just not telling anybody so that nobody has to say where he is or get questioned to where he is, so I can keep him as safe as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that he's okay. I hope you guys are okay. I did have a question that I asked Al at one point, your brother, if I wanted to know, where he was, and he said I did not want to know, and that he could not be found. So what does that mean?
I don't know why he would say that, but it's the same story. I don't even want Al to know. I don't want anybody to know, so that nobody has to be worried about it. Nobody has to be questioned about it, so he can be safe.
And Melanie went on to say that Alex's wife at the time of his death said that Alec told her the kids would never be found. But during this phone call being played in front of the jury, they were intently listening. They took copious notes during Melanie Gibb's testimony, especially her direct exam. At some points, Michael and Ashley, I would look over to the jury, and all 18 of their heads would be down, scribbling something with their pencil in their red notepads that they bring in and out of the courtroom each and every day. So it was definitely a big moment for the state today.
And Chanley, most of her testimony played right into the narrative of the state, but there were little tidbits of her testimony that I thought could be used by the defense. They did get an opportunity to cross-examine her. Where did they go with their cross-examination of Gibb?
Yeah, they certainly did. John Thomas led the cross-examination of Melanie Gibb, and it was slow-paced, and he would take his time. And it was interesting to see Melanie Gibb. She was ready for this, Michael and Ashley, so she leaned into that microphone in the courtroom, and she became louder. It was almost too loud with her answers, because she was determined and confident in what she had to say. So here's some of the themes, though, of cross that we can kind of summarize into areas. First, this recorded phone call that she called Chad and Lori, recorded it without them knowing. December 2019, the defense tried to say, there were other reasons that you wanted to record this. You were trying to cover for yourself in this, and ultimately she says no. I just wanted to make sure Lori and Chad didn't implicate me in any way. This was not at the behest of the police. And then also, she was asked about Tylee Ryan, and her direct testimony was like, Tylee was a typical teenager, didn't get along with her mother, so that was a part of the cross-examination for them to say, well, she didn't even get along with you. She didn't like you as well, Melanie. And then also the monetary motive. This was a big moment, too, that I thought was strong for the defense on cross-examination in that she indicated that Lori knew that Charles had switched over his $1 million life insurance policy. And if that was the case, the defense said, well, there would have been no monetary motive to purposely or plan or do away with Charles Vallow at that time. And of course, Melanie says she didn't know that answer. But ultimately, when the defense confronted her with some of the beliefs, she believed that she's lived 4 or 5 prior lives, that she believes in portals, and that she was buying into the dark spirits and the castings to convince the spirits to leave a body. And she was participating in multiple prayer castings. She still tried to distance herself and say, no, they were trying to convince me, but I wasn't fully sold out like Alex Cox. I still didn't feel 100% comfortable, and I certainly didn't believe it by the time I recorded that phone call. December 8th is what she told them.
All right, Chanley Painter, thank you so much for that report. As always, we will talk to you again at the bottom of the hour. And quickly, when we talk about the testimony of Melanie Gibb, she was the perfect witness to sort of lay the foundation for the narrative of the state's case. I mean, she gave motive, she gave conspiracy testimony, and really sort of a deeper dive into all their beliefs.
Absolutely agree with you. And I want to keep in mind that even first-degree murder, it can be not that they were there, but that they did act and encourage the killing of. So I think it really plays into that narrative.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's bring in our guest for this hour. Joining us is celebrity civil litigator John Phillips. John, let me ask you this question. Great to see you, John, by the way. Truly appreciate you being with us. We were talking here off camera saying, does she really believe this stuff? And let's say she really believes this stuff, right? That these kids were, in fact, dark and they had zombies in them. So did Tammy, so did Charles, or whatever. Will that make a difference? Because she still knew that she was eliminating human beings.
Yeah, I mean, that was the exact same question that I have in my mind that I don't know if we'll ever figure out. Did she really believe the zombie, portal thing? Is this her true religion, or is this a kind of story, right? Or some combination thereof? But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this isn't the case where, you have a family that believes that their children shouldn't go to the doctor, right? And so you've got a religious hierarchy you need to weigh, even though it was neglect and possible, murder. This is way darker. I mean, for a parent to think their own children are inhabited by zombies, goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's really tough for me to swallow. I'm just going to be transparent, gentlemen, to hear the jury. And I have always found juries are diligent. They pay attention. They're writing all these notes. Chanley's in the courtroom watching this. And as they're writing all these notes, I mean, John, how can a defense win when you have this kind of testimony? And it goes to the elements of the crimes, the conspiracy and the murder charges that are being sought by the state.
This is one witness, so the facts will change, they will evolve, but just reading kind of the live Twitter feed of the description, and look, we all knew going into this that she was called the cult mom, right? But sometimes we just pick words that sound, fancy, but truly she is the cult mom, and that was exhibited all throughout today. But again, it's one witness from reading the description and certainly hearing what your wonderful team has come up with and reported on the defense. The other thing that I heard is they tried to impeach her on witness preparation. There was nothing, dynamite about the defense attack, but let's see how this thing progresses. But it was definitely a good day for the prosecution.
I have one other question really quickly. Because you're a celebrity attorney, she's really gained celebrity status. She's really known all over the world because of these crimes. Does that affect this trial quickly?
It does. Anytime you've got a high profile or celebrity defendant, there's so many outside influences, and it does affect it.
Fascinating. I mean, Michael, this is a case I can't turn away from. Even though we can't have cameras, we're getting these great live reports from Chanley and all the audio following day or two, and it is something else.